Well, what's new? Oh, there's always something new, right? Yeah, of most interest to me today, hopefully you all find some interest in it, is the fact that for the first time since Gerald Ford got it started in Congress in the 1960s, they're having hearings about UFOs in Washington. Well. Anybody been paying attention to media knows that, the Navy's been chasing them around and so on, and that the government has finally admitted, we don't know what it is. Yeah, that's basically where we're at right now. It's there, but we don't know what it is. I actually suspect that there are some people that do. You can go way deep into the conspiracy world and that stuff, but just at the very surface of it all, these things are machines, and machines are destined to fail periodically. I don't care who made them. And so the idea that we may have recovered some junk here on this planet that wasn't made in Mexico is probably true. And so anybody who has their hands on it would know we're not alone in the universe because we didn't make this stuff. Yeah, I figured that might be true, but who knows? So much conspiracy. The one thing that's for sure, they're actually finally having some hearings on it again, and it'll amount to nothing, but it's kind of like stages, And we go way back to Project Grudge, and there was Project Blue Book, and so on. I've been following this along, at least since somewhere in the early 1960s myself, because it was in 64 I had my first outstanding encounter with one of these craft, and nobody after I ran into that situation that was ever going to convince me that those things were made on this planet. They just aren't. They're well beyond us, and so I've been interested in it ever since. And the Project Blue Book was a joke, it really was. There was nothing there. They left us in the state that if you believe in this stuff, then you're a hillbilly with a tinfoil hat. That's really where they left it. And so for years and years and years, despite the fact that I have had numerous encounters with these craft, I've kept my mouth shut, and I'm not a commercial airline pilot, right? If I was a commercial airline pilot, that'd be death for me to even mention it, But even as a landscaper and a farmer, I would bring it up, and people would go, "Oh God, you're nuts, Bill, you're nuts." Well, I'm not nuts, at least not about these craft, that's for sure. Something else probably, yeah, but not about this. So I'm pleased to see, because this staging that we went from hillbillies wearing tinfoil hats probably to, hey, they really are there, and our pilots in the Navy chase them around. We don't know what they are, but they really are there. So it's staged. Chances are somebody knows more yet, and eventually there may be more. This has been a slow, long process of trying to bring this information forward to the world or the American public. It's not all countries are quite the same about this. You get into parts of South America and that, Chile, for instance, I think they say over 70% of the people there actually, believe in these things. There are programs in South America where there is total disclosure by their militaries and so on. So some places are a little bit ahead as far as, acknowledging the fact that we are not alone in the silly universe. It's too big anyway. Of course, anytime I bring it up, there's always some scientific egghead that says, well, it's too far away. They can't get here from there, Well, don't realize when you say this, you're thinking from a human perspective. You're thinking from your understanding of physics, okay? These craft do not follow our understanding of physics. They're outside of what you know, okay? And so stop trying to deny what you don't understand, really, is the way I see it. But, for me, the first sighting back in '64 left me rather stunned, and it also taught me never say anything about this to other people. Two of us who spotted this were both of us. Our parents worked for United Airlines, and so they were at O'Hare at the airport, and so we actually called our dads to find out whether there'd been any unusual radar traces, and well, no, they had not seen it. And so we turned around and we called the local cop shop. Oh, was that a joke? I'm sure they're probably back to Venus by now, son. I felt completely humiliated and realized there was no reason ever to share this stuff with anybody else. They're talking about it in Congress right now, so I'm talking about it. From my point of view, I am almost positive. I have no beliefs, but I'm almost certain that these things that they're here, that they're machines, and they weren't made by us. Yeah, I'm pretty certain of that. I've been too close to them. I've several hundred feet. I don't measure distance well, but I've been, close enough to some of these craft. I probably could have hit them with a BB gun or a league ball and a baseball bat or something. That close, and they aren't American technology. And I'm very certain with the performance the Russians are showing us in the Ukraine, they didn't build this stuff either. Whether it actually comes from somewhere far away is entirely another story. They could be right here on top of us. We'd never know. We really wouldn't. They could be inside the moon. Who knows where they are, Yeah, they could be a lot of different places. Maybe they're aquatic and they live inside one of the ice planets. I don't know. But they could be right here on top of us, So the idea that they're coming from somewhere distant all the time, they may have come from somewhere distant a long time ago. Or they just simply have the ability to fold space, so that distance is compressed for them. I don't know what the answers are here, but I would say that there probably isn't anything more important or more earth-shaking for most human beings is to gain the reality and the understanding we aren't alone. Yeah, we're not alone here. I've often wondered what they're watching for, why they're out there, and what they're up to. There we could really rattle on, but knowing what I think I know about the human race, they might just be waiting for us to kill ourselves off so they can move in. It's a pretty desirable planet if we don't nuke it or do something, horrible to destroy it so nothing can ever live here again. If we don't do that, in the process, we may kill ourselves off to the point that somebody else can have it. That's my guess. They're all just sitting around. Okay, they're getting close. All right, another war, another disease. Yeah, so, moving from that subject seamlessly into mass shootings and killings. Wow, that's new only in the amount. It's just on and on and on and on and on. I saw Biden and his wife there in Buffalo, trying to console people over what happened there and putting down flowers. And, man, I tell you what, I wouldn't want that guy's job for anything, and it doesn't matter who was sitting in that office. It isn't going to make any difference. I don't believe the problem that we're being faced with all these killings is actually understandable by us because it's a forest and trees situation. We are inside the problem, and you can't see the problem when you're inside of it. It's almost my entire life, I have been an outsider as a person. I don't join, okay? The reason that the Green Garden guy does what he does and why I'm this unusual character who sits over here in Hawaii growing pineapples and stuff and talking on YouTube is because I don't belong to any of your clubs. I don't belong to any of your religions. I do not espouse to any particular political beliefs, etc., etc., etc. Life for me is totally operated by my own critical sense of judgment and what seems plausible to me. Since I have no belief systems and I don't join the rest of you in your belief systems, I am a bit of an outsider, and looking from the outside in, I tend to see things that don't show up otherwise. In this case, the reason we can't solve our problem is because we are it. Just the general nature of society today, and I won't even point my finger directly at America because I think we're all nuts. It doesn't matter where you're at mostly, but some societies are a little more sane than others. We're nuts, absolutely. The things we consider to be normal and real, they're illusions, man. These are things you guys have thought up. I mention often that money is an abstract commodity. It has no actual value. Yet we have a belief system behind driving money that makes it real. It's a very good example. We have belief systems behind enemy, behind war, behind evil. We have belief systems behind all sorts of different things that push us forward into situations that are plain nuts. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, most forms of government, all forms of religion, and almost any other belief system are really just socially acceptable insanity. I know that it's gotten to the point with me, and for instance, movies, okay? I can't watch most of them. I find them repulsive and disgusting, the vast majority of them. It's all based on the good guy against the bad guy. It's based on fear. It's based on the enemy. It's based on kill, violence, flash, 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 I mean, I'm as susceptible as anybody else to a good shoot-'em-up scene in The Matrix, I suppose. That was a pretty good one. But, it's entertaining, but it's not good for us. And there's so many other belief systems where we take the world and we polarize it. We say, Satan is evil and God is good. And we divide lines between everything, and these lines don't exist. Not really. Everything is pretty much an amorphous mass of gray. Yeah. But nevertheless, we can say that person's evil, and so once we get ourselves into that kind of a mindset where we can decide that this is right and that is wrong and that person there is wrong because their beliefs, their skin color or whatever, then we have that, the rationale, the reasoning why we turn around and we beat the living crap out of each other and blow holes in their heads, Yeah. It's pretty strange. Racially motivated killing to me is insane. That's absolutely nuts. Color of skin? What? Yeah? Well, why do we go after bald people? Why not? Come on. Yeah, try it. Yeah, I'm not a violent person, but on the other hand, I have been known to control problems when I need to, and if it means I had to stomp something into the pavement, we do that. So, but, it all just kind of, for me, it boils down to Mouse Cage. There's a video out there if y'all want to look it up I did years ago called Mouse Cage. It's about when I raised white mice as a child, and I had a large mouse city. And, of course, once the mice became overpopulated within their cage, because I didn't have any breeding control, I didn't have any birth control, we don't do mouse abortions, there's no Roe versus Wade from mice. They just kept breeding and breeding and breeding and breeding until they were so clustered within the cage that there was a biological trigger that clicked. And so what happens is they started killing each other. They resorted to cannibalism. They began eating the infants, just all sorts of very bizarre mouse behavior with these cute little white guys with a little putt and pink nose, and it's so cute. Gaga! They just run. I'd come into the room and there'd be corpses laying everywhere, and then disease had set in, and it's all basically because they were confined within the mouse cage, the mouse city. Now, I know mice well as a farmer in the wild, and in the wild things are a little different from mice. They don't have any control over their breeding. There's no control. They just breed and breed. But in the wild, what will happen to them is, well, famine sets in. They can't find enough food for all that population, so they tend to die over the winters. They pick up diseases. They get too clustered in certain areas together and searching for food. They communicate diseases and they drop dead. Or otherwise, we have natural predation from foxes, owls, hawks, other things that eat mice. And so there are control mechanisms. But here we're dealing with, you have apex predators that set over the top of the mouse population that will push it down when it gets too high as a food source. Well, we don't have any apex predators. We are it. Yeah. Well, unless those guys in the saucers outside the atmosphere, but let's not go there. We are the only thing that can control human beings at this point, other than disease, which we are seeing the rise of many different diseases that are associated mostly to urbanization. As people pack themselves closer and closer together, then these things spread and develop much better. And we have war. And war, ideologically, it makes little sense what we do. It's ridiculous. But on the other hand, as populations increase, I don't think we can stop ourselves from it. I think it's the biological trigger, the same one I saw in my mice when they were trapped in their little cage. Our blue planet is basically a cage. It's limited. There's only so much water, so much space, and so much of this, that, and the other thing here. And as things begin to get congested, then we start to do abnormal things like have war and begin to kill each other. Anyhow, that's my take on it, that the societies are overtly violent. Our entertainment is, to me, barfy, most of it. These video games, for instance, my goodness. You let your kid play that stuff when he's 5, he gets a real assault rifle when he's 18, and he walks into a supermarket, And yet all this is considered normal by us. It's not really very normal, folks. It's not. It's weird. But we don't see it because we're on the inside. Just the idea of a consumer society where my purpose is to consume, which is kind of the way it's looked at by business and often even by government. I consume to survive. I need materials, I need to eat some rice and such and such. So things I consume, I do that because they allow me to survive comfortably. I do not survive for consumption. Now, on occasion, you will catch me in a guitar shop looking at an instrument going, oh man, I really want this thing, But it's rare. It's rare. I very seldom fit that bill. Mostly I keep my wallet in my pocket until there's something I really think is going to matter. And when I find something that I think consuming it is going to really matter to me, I take care of it. I am so happy I bought an electric car, for instance. I'm so happy I spent money on converting the house to solar energy and so on. So, yeah, I think that the main problem we're faced with is human overpopulation. We do not have an environmental problem. The environment is fine. What we have is too many people on the face of the planet for things to be comfortably sustained. Even if the planet could handle us, we can't. Yeah, we have reactions that I suspect are actually much, much deeper than our intellect. That through the genetic strand, things that we've learned since the beginning of time flow through our bloodstream, and they affect us from the backside. These things rise up through the unconscious and the subconscious. I don't think we're ever going to figure out why these goofballs go in and shoot up a supermarket or a church or such. There is no logic to it. You kill all the black people you want to, it's not going to change anything. And most of these clowns, when they get done with this, try to turn around and put the guns to their heads. So, what was the point? You know what I'm saying? These are people who already wish they were dead to begin with, and then they go out and take it out on other people. So they're already mentally disturbed to such an extent that they can no longer function as members of society. They're actually part of the cleanup crew. So, what's new, huh? Yeah, I wish I had a solution, but like I said, I pity a guy sitting in the office up there right now who's got this stuff sitting on his desk, or governors or town mayors that, have problems. Nobody wants to go out and, go buy a birthday cake for the kid and then take a bullet in the forehead. No, it's not cool. Not at all. I see, especially during this whole pandemic thing, that even here in Hawaii, irrational activity and crime is beginning to rise. We're seeing more and more and more of it. Anyway, aloha, folks. That's what's new in Bill's world today. You all have a good one.